one of the most important theological and philosophical concepts that we discuss most of the times and we ask about, because sometimes this concept creates confusion. This concept is our fortune or misfortune predestined upon us? Does it come with birth? Is it inherited? We take it from our parents, from our grandparents, or it is something that we decide ourselves? It is something that we earn through our choice and a free will. What is the answer? There are two groups of philosophers, not only in Islam, but in other religions too. First group believes that the fortune, the happiness, the prosperity of any community, any society, any family, any individual has been predestined upon them by God, and they have no choice in it. This is the complete will of God. Humans have no role in their fortune or misfortune. Whatever they say, they are not going to make any difference. It's all controlled and decided and ordained by God upon them. The second school argues that fortune and misfortune, as-sa'adatu wa-shaqa, it is earned by us. We are the builders, we are the makers, we are the manufacturers, if you will, of our fortune and misfortune. Yes, we get help from God, guidance from God, approval from God, partnership with God. But it is not done in isolation from our own free will and our own free choice. And therefore, in chapter 76, Surah Al-Insan, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجًا نَبْتَلِيهِ. Indeed, we have created man from a single mixed drop. مِن نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ. So we put him to test, نَبْتَلِيهِ. فَجَعَلْنَاهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. We made him, and her of course, both genders, سَمِيعًا, hearing, بَصِيرًا, seeing. Meaning we provided them with means of understanding, with means of free choice and free will and comprehension and intelligence. إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ. Then we guided him إِمَّا شَاكِرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. Either be it grateful or be it ungrateful. So it's up to us. Yes, we need God's help. We definitely need God's guidance. من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. It's only those that God guides can be guided. And those who God misguides, nobody is going to guide them other than God. This is a pre-Islamic concept, if you will, even a biblical concept. Whether we are fortunate or misfortunate by us or God. Let me share with you. So this first approach believes that God decides from the day our mother conceives with us that this group are happy, this group are sad. This group are successful, this group are failures. The second approach, however, which is more accurate, which is consistent with this book, the Holy Quran. The second approach says, السعيد من سعد في بطن أمه والشقي من شقي في بطن أمه means that God knows about those who are going to be successful as well as those who are going to be failures. From day one, even before they come into this life, God knows about them. Not that God imposed fortune or misfortune upon them. He knows. It's like a teacher. Let me give this parable, make it easy for us to understand. Professor, teacher, who knows his students from day one when they come to the class. He knows some of them are hardworking, intelligent, serious, they want to be successful, they want to do their work, and others are sleepy. They always come late. The professor is speaking and they are thinking of something else. He knows those are failures. Another verse in Surah At-Tawbah. Surah At-Tawbah is chapter 9, verse 70. فَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيَظْلِمَهُمْ. God were not to wrong the people. وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. In fact, they are the one that wrong themselves. عَدْلْ قَامَتِ السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضِ. Through justice, the entire universe is standing. And God would not detach himself from divine justice. And God would never wrong any person. So he would not create someone from day one when he is in his mother's womb. He would not create him a miserable person or a homeless person or a person that has no hope in this life. Neither he is going to force someone who's a loser and lazy and make him the more successful from day one. God does not do that. God wishes success for all of us. Yes, in our mother's wombs, he will provide us. Inna hadaynahu sabil. We provide humans with all means of success, but at the end of the day, we leave it for them to decide. We don't impose on them anything. This is number one argument. Number two, if God is supposed to strip us away, strip us off free will and free choice, then why there is compensation? Why there is retribution? If God wants to send someone to hellfire from day one, then why he created the system of retribution and compensation? And what is the benefit? It becomes meaningless. Then why did he bring him into this life in the first place? Let's buy him one-way ticket, non-stop flight to hellfire from day one. Why is he bringing him into this life? This life is the life of test, imtihan. Imtihan. We are tested here. We are here to know our place there, to decide our place there. And God would never ever make someone shaqi, misfortunate, by force, or imposes shaqa or misfortunate upon him. Neither, he doesn't do that. It contradicts the principle of justice. It contradicts the principle of retribution and compensation. الثواب والعقاب. It becomes meaningless. God leaves these issues for us to decide. God's policy is not temperamental, is not moody, is not random, is not selective. His work is not selective. God's policy is based on hikmah, wisdom, prudence, and on justice. Remember, two things, two pillars of God's policy. So, how do you reconcile between us having the choice, we drawing our fortune or misfortune, and between God's divine decree? How do you reconcile? divine decree does not mean God forces us. It does not mean jabr or coercion. It means we still can have a choice, but with God's approval, with God's will, with God's knowledge. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ رَبُّ الْعَالَمِينَ. You cannot want something or do something without the approval of God. وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا أَن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. Don't all of a sudden say, I am going to do this tomorrow, without saying, Insha'Allah, if God wills. It's not just to create us and sits there on his throne, as some people believe, and he watches us, and he says, you can enjoy your life. I'm not going to interfere. No, 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 no. He's not going to do that. God creates and does interfere for our benefit, for our good, for our interest. Sometimes God prevents you from traveling. You decide, you purchase the ticket. You are about to go to the airport, something happens, stops you. This is divine decree. God stops you from doing something because he knows this thing is not good for you. And he wishes you goodness. And therefore we always have to ask God, oh God, if you know I'm going to do something which is not right, you stop me, you prevent me, you intercept, and don't let me do it. You still, nothing has been imposed on you without your own will. God is working with us in collaboration with us, not in isolation from us. Always remember, when it comes to a believer, God works with him, not against him. In collaboration with him or her, not in isolation of him or her. Yes, he sometimes plans for us, but this planning is according to our own will too, not against our will. This is the meaning of divine decree.